Good morning, everybody. Come on over, everybody. Free general awareness, everybody. Come on over, everybody. Don't want to miss this morning's general awareness. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. Everybody go to Ernie's and tell them to come to Benny's for free awareness. They will not want to miss this free general awareness. I assure you, we got the right people watching this morning. Oh, good deal, good deal. Good deal, good deal, good deal. Go on over and tell Rescue Our Children we're going to do his fucking job this morning. Go tell him. Go ahead and tell him. Free awareness. No, but for real, this is going to be a very serious thing. But go tell Ernie's people to come on over here. We're giving free awareness. I've been listening to this motherfucker talk about this shit, and I'm convinced he doesn't actually know how to fucking do it. So I'm going to give you some general awareness. You dig? General awareness. I mean to tell you, you don't want to miss it. I'm fucking so sincere. Go on now. Go on now. Go on over there and tell Ernie's people to go on over here and check us out. Yep, come on over now. Come one, come all. This is so fucking sincere now. I'm going to give you the real fucking deal. Yep, come on over. Y'all just come on over. Come on over. Come on over. Now, let me tell everybody. General awareness. When you decide to do it, it ought to be done real proper. It ought to be done with a rigid spine and clean boots. I mean, you just really gotta just talk these people out of choosing between high blood pressure medicine and getting the kind of awareness that's gonna keep lineages of your family secure, safe, and proper like. Now, and I mean right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do something that Ernie should have did a long fucking time ago. This is gonna be like revisiting the past. You get to watch me relive the worst. I mean the absolute fucking worst you could ever imagine one man with two kneecaps could whip out of himself. Can I get an amen from the congregation? Good Lord. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Little general awareness. I'm going to wait till y'all file in here now. Just a little general awareness. Yeah, Ernie, you're welcome to come on over here any fucking time. Hey, say, tell me what's the play. Hey, say, corner back on play. Hey. Hold on. Man, I look. You guys ready for some fucking general awareness? First and foremost. I don't have a car seat readily available, so I'm just gonna gyrate the fuck out of this goddamn leather couch. All right. I think we're ready. If you don't like it, Linda Kaiser, you can kiss me on my behind her. Say. All right. Good Lord. Oh, I see Queen Cheesy in here. Good deal. All right. Well, had to make a special trip down to the wall by the border. Left my fucking hat with a Texas Ranger. He's got a hole shot clean through it. I let him handle it for a minute. And I plumb drove off, got out of the van, walked down the highway. Forgot I left my hat. Good Lord. So I goes back to the wall. I sees that same Texas Ranger, and I said, "Sir, can I have my hat back? Can I have my hat back?" And he said, "Good Lord, you came all the way back for that." I said, "Good Lord, Ernie, you must be somewhere between Jesus Christ and John Wayne. Have mercy." Good deal. So, we want to talk about these general awareness medallions. Now, I fucking lost my medallion. Now, I can't see shit. Why I would fucking fall down? How the hell did he? Hold on, man. Whoa. Yeah, sub to my other channel, man. Say, man, tell me what's the play, man. Hit man Benny Keys, man. Say. Hold on, let me see if I can find my fucking my fucking medallion. Oh, ladies, let me tell you something. If you really want to sexualize a situation like me, Ernie Mac, ladies, get your husband some of this shit right here. I know a lot of these ladies here, they say, Ernie looks like he stinks. Ernie smells like an alligator. You see that? Alligator on the hat, alligator on the back. Yes, you hear me? Look here, motherfucker, me. Let me do your motherfucking job, except for let me do it better than you do it, looking ass. Hold the phone, you dig? Hold the phone, you dig? Hold the phone, ladies. Hold the phone. All right. Now we got that out of the way. I want to get serious here for a minute because we seem to have this interplanetary situation between Ernest Shell, myself, and a lot of the people that are in this community. And I think that it's time that we actually um, that you have an understanding of what the fuck the awareness could be. Right now, what we need to understand first of all and foremost when it comes to this is gonna fuck Ernie up bad. Watch how good I do this, Ernie, and this ain't even my thing. You dig? Hey, what's up, man? Tales of a Life. What up? So, general awareness. General awareness is a way to culturize many subsets. It's a very vague, broad, and very unspecific. Okay. Then he says we're going to do some situational awareness. Now, I believe situational awareness is key. But let me tell you what Ernie wants you to believe and what the reality is are completely separate. Okay. For over 70 years, American parents have been lying to their children about come in when the street lights come on. Watch out for the van with the guy in it going around. Those things were real in certain situations, but were taken and cast as a net to grab the attention of children to get them to do what you wanted them to do. You put a fear in them. You lied to them about a situation that may or may not happen. It's like razor blades in the Halloween candy. Did it ever happen? Yes. But did it happen on a scale that was preposterously pandemic? No. Now, what is fucked up about Ernie is this. Ernie does nothing in real life. Ernie cannot do anything in real life. He can't even give you the regular fucking general awareness. He can't even show you how the general awareness works. Let me show you, people, trigger warning. This is going to be very hard to watch because it is going to be, I'm going to put it in a different light today. I'm going to put it in the light that it's there for. Okay? Check it out. Now, this is the deal. What Ernie is trying to show all of us is what happens on a very small scale. Okay? A very small scale. Now, Ernie likes to talk about all the physical kidnappings and showing these creeper videos of guy. Like, that's the end game. That's once a child's been groomed continuously and consistently and brainwashed essentially. And we're gonna see what the brainwashing can look like. Okay. Now, let me tell you, ladies, gentlemen, that the grooming is a progressive ramping up of behaviors. Okay. What the offender is trying to essentially do is he's trying to groom himself along with the offender. I mean, with the victim. Okay, so you don't have to be a groomer in order to break down what you see and efficiently be able to relay it back. Okay, so I want to show you something that is going to be a little it's going to be a little bit hard to watch. If you don't want, I'm going to give you the opportunity now. If you don't want to rerun what Ernie ran the other night, I'm going to be running it for educational purposes. We're just going to do it, right? This guy, I don't know what he's setting up or whatever, but the important part is that everyone in the community on that edge and around over on this vicinity a little bit too, we've all been hearing these crazy claims of, we're going to provide general awareness. We're going to provide general awareness. And then what happens is someone goes over there and they just run their finger across his chat over there, and then it's never about awareness. It's never about awareness. So what we're going to delve in today is not the end game. That's what Ernie wants to focus on and never show you. That's his business. What I'm going to arm you parents with today is the real general awareness of what you need to worry about so that your child never finds itself in a compromising situation. Okay? Bear with me. I got a problem with this in a lot of ways. No problem. Let me do this for right now. Well, I've got to show a little bit of it. Oops. Hold on. He already put it out there. I'm gonna just go ahead and run with it. Now, situationally, you have to be armed with who your child is presented to and exposed to online. The interesting part, in my opinion, about the online is that we never know who's watching us. We never know who's not watching us, but looking for something back here. Like we see it all the time, right? Like, the very subtle parts of putting a picture of your child and such online, it becomes a different thing, right? Now, we all know that Ernest Shell is super hyper vigilant. I'm guessing by virtue of chemical enhancement. What he does is he's grouped up with other people that are hyper vigilant, much the same as him. So what they do is they inject a false fear of real life situations where your children are going to be preyed on in the flesh. But he refuses to even identify the fact that the real threat comes from first the introduction to the child to online. Now, let me tell you what. Ernest is like last night talking about me and Don performing anal sex on one another. And then the night before that, he had his Nissan. So, what I want to do here, I want you to look at the child's, Ernie is really good at this in his own mind. But what you need to understand is look at this child's hand. Ernie been saying all day it was going to be a meeting for the children or whatever it was. So Ernie creates a scenario, and of course, like let me disclose this. I'm not a professional. I can only go upon what I see and what I've seen other places in my research and in my studies, right? I'm not here to diagnose him as anything in particular. I'm here to render my opinion based upon the speculation and the situation that I see here. Also, we have a long-standing record of Ernie being, very predatory. I mean, extremely predatory. Even predatory in a sense where he'll be in another state, not show his face, and tell people he's in Texas or got photos. Or last night he said he had an investigator that lived 4 doors down from me, or maybe 6. Sometimes he gets it wrong. All of that is predatory behavior. Okay. The predatory behavior is offensive. Okay, it means that you're striking out. You're worried about scoring first, defense second. I was always a defensive player. I know that defense wins championships. You don't have to have a Michael Jordan on every team. All you got to have is 5 blue collar defensive guys, because defense wins games too, right? So, first thing I want to point out is that he's already, before I got to this, let me say it that way. Before I had gotten to this, the girl clearly already has the hat on, right? So the girl has the hat on. Why that's interesting to all of you, and you should know why it should be interesting, is because when you see your child start to take on different personas based upon, let's say, the adults in their lives that could be potentially dangerous. Now, let me tell you what. There is no one on the internet or in my real life that I know that is more of a danger to children and families than Ernest Shell. So, being armed with that information first is key, right? Like, identifying that there is potential predators around you is the situational awareness, right? Like, you can't expect to load yourself with all of this awareness, but aren't able to pick out what a predator looks like in real life, right? It does you no good. It does you no good to study and know all the models of the Chevrolet in the 1960s, but you never fucking see one, right? It's a unicorn. Well, when you get the opportunity to study the unicorn in the flesh, you see it, right? So back to the hat. Why the hat is important is because Ernie had already designed earlier in the day. He knew he was going to do this. So that gives you premeditation. Okay? Premeditation is key for guys like him to not get caught. The reason being is the obvious, right? So, everybody wants to feel part of something. Everybody wants to feel important. Everyone wants to be part of a gang, even if it's a rogue group of vigilantes that actually meddle in the prosecution in the way that other online predators behave and navigate the web. So, hold on. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't know if you guys can tell in my respiration. Like, I'm having some anxiety. I really am. Like, I know what he's about to do. And I need to sit down for a minute. Like, my legs are kind of shaky. Like, this didn't bother me like this the other day. It's already bothering me a lot. Like, my hand, look at my hand. My hands are never shaky. Man. I need to take a little break for a minute. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Hold on. I gotta put my legs up. Hold on. Damn. What the fuck? I'm being very sincere, y'all. This is very sincere. I don't know if I can do it. Oh, man. I could feel my mouth getting dry earlier, and it was just like I knew this was coming up. Wow, I never been triggered like this before, guys. I not to say that I thought that any of you guys were making anything up. I never had it happen. Like this dude, this is a lot. And I don't need an ambulance. No, I need to just get my feet up under me, and then, yeah, it's just anxiety. I need to get a little, put a little peanut butter sandwich in my stomach real quick. Just bear with me. I'm gonna try to get through this. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. I could feel it coming on, and I tried to push it back and push it back. Damn. I'm sorry. Just give me 5 minutes, y'all. Damn. Man, I knew Let's make a little peanut butter sandwich real quick. This dude's a really bad guy. And I mean, it just, wow. Give me just a minute. I'm here alone. It's fucking YouTube, man. The shit that goes on here, man, is a lot. I used to use this motherfucker to listen to my songs and shit. I didn't even know about this shit. Damn. me well, that shit was a lot to me, man. That shit was a lot. Like, I think I was mainly in shock when I looked at it before. I never really just had a problem with anxiety. Like, I smoke, but Trito, I know. Whew. All right. Now, I used to do the predator hunts too. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool. And I tell you what, it wasn't until this lady Kate, she runs a channel called The Mass Hole Report. And she did an expose on me and Doug at No Thanks. And she happened to cover the fact that I had done some predator catches. Mine were much different than Ernie's. Mine had to do a lot with shouting and screaming and belittling these men and scaring them. And but this lady, in her chastising me online in rare form, it was at that moment that I was like, it isn't about the predator. It's about the child. And to focus on the predator is the wrong end of the business. To create scenarios where I had caught men that I actually believed. I could stand there in front of them and when they said, I'm just so lonely. Like, I saw someone that was so lonely and that they're like, I wasn't going to have sex with her. And it's like, they all say that. But then I believed one or two, and it was like, that's the dangerous part. Like, that's getting off the safari. That's touching touching the animals, and it's certain portions of that you should never do. And um I don't know. It's a lot. But what I would tell you is that to keep your kids safe these days is to monitor, of course, is to monitor the social media. Every phone carrier has an app where you can monitor the child's comings and goings. You can personalize it in a way that you'll get updates that'll allow you to do many things, from track the keystrokes to looking at what they visit, or to completely controlling when they can look at things through the screen time and whatnot. All of those things are important. I actually want to show you really quick. This was from 2 years ago, but this is just to give you an idea of the lengths that people are willing to go in order to take care of their extreme desire for a sexual appetite, which is it's sick, to be quite honest with you. So I want you guys to watch this. This isn't a play on Ernie's stuff. This is these are the innocent enough looking apps. I actually saw an expose where, like the Roblox game, or there's certain games. Minecraft was another one where they're interactive, so they would create these houses or whatever, and then inside the houses there would be pornographic images that the kids could walk into the houses and they could see the pornographic images, and then they could go out, but it was hidden. And so one of the issues is trust, right? Like we all know, trust is children are far too trusting. A lot of parents would say about their children that their children have never met a stranger. And when you have a child that you feel like has never met a stranger, or a child that likes to show their affection, you've got to monitor that child differently. To be quite honest with you, you have to monitor that child differently, because that child could potentially put themselves in a situation that would be a detriment to their safety. Right now, another thing that we have to keep in mind. Well, let's go through the apps real quick.
To meet teen girls for sex, but wound up tackled, pinned by deputies turned linebackers, making arrests as part of a sex sting.
That operation in Sarasota netted 25 men, including 2 from right here in Southwest Florida. Guys who thought they were talking to kids online.
Now, let me tell you what. When you see this sort of of activity, these are certified law enforcement operations. To call them a sting is to really put the emphasis on what it is that's going on here. This isn't a sting. Stings are like what Ernie does when he wanders down the highway. Those are stings. These people are predators. These people are here to fornicate and a lot of times pay a child for sex. So it's not always the child that's going to be snatched because they got 2 hands on the iPad. It's never going to be that child. A lot of times it's your at-risk youth that have access to the iPads, to the phones, and they're not monitored in any sort of way. And you couple that with, children that maybe look older and then lie to men, or, whatever the case may be. There's many different scenarios, all of them nefarious.
And then they drove miles.
But to finish that ideal, oops, I'm not even showing you the screen. I'm sorry. To finish the ideal, I believe when the police do the operations, that they're very beneficial to see this sort of stuff right here. It's good for predators to see that the actual police are the ones running the operations, right? Because for a predator to run into an Ernie shell, what happens is all they got to do is look out for the guys wearing the motorcycle leather and the crazy hats and shit. You know what I mean? Like, those are pretty easy to evade. Ernie is one of the people that shouldn't call himself a hunter, because a hunter is to be elusive. A hunter is to stay quiet. A hunter is to strike from the dark and pull your victim into the dark, and not doing the processing of the cadaver in the light, right? So hunters don't do the things that Ernie does. Ernie couldn't even successfully go undercover in East Tennessee and do anything helpful. Don't let any of that stuff fool you.
For face-to-face, only to end up on the ground in cuffs.
They squeal like pigs. They flop around. It's when we're there and they're doing it, it's in a way it seems humorous.
That's the Sarasota County Sheriff who announced the arrest today. And tonight, ABC7 is getting you more, because the sheriff also showed off 15 apps that parents should know about.
Yeah, these apps.
Now, this is where your general awareness comes in, because most to all of these apps are still available. So, I don't know, folks, if you put these apps on restriction. I don't know how you specifically take care of it. I can tell you, iPhone users, Parents of children with iPhones, you can set up the screen time through the Apple identification, and you can monitor. You can block. You can tell them when they can use it, when they can't. You can permanently block it. I'm not as familiar with the Google Play Store, but we can certainly get you that general awareness on where you could go through the Google Play Store and find which app you need to have or system to control Google Android phones as well.
Apps that kids could use to talk to predators, including one disguised right here as a calculator. ABC7's Alex Howard is here revealing what moms and dads need to know.
Well, take a look at these two apps. Can you tell the difference? It's kind of hard, right? It's the problem cybersecurity experts say is rampant, and predators are using innocent-looking apps to lure children.
Yeah, I was pretty disgusted, to tell you.
And let's just be honest here. It isn't just the apps, right? It's not just the obscure apps, right? Anything where people can interact back and forth. A lot of times these predators are forced to go to apps that are obscure because they know parents block these main apps. And so they can get these other obscure apps, people. So you have to always be looking out in the phones. What's the new hottest app that they're using that you necessarily aren't aware of? Because there could be an interactive feature in that app that could allow them to access pornography, chat with people that are not their age, and expose them to even sending images of themselves back non-consensually.
The truth. I mean, we run into this situation not uncommonly.
It's a problem terrifying enough to make your skin crawl.
Kids a lot of times unknowingly download apps that look like they're friendly or kid-friendly. We've seen a number of apps coming out of other parts of the world and the U.S., but it's pretty much, it's rampant.
It's open market. When they can get inside the Minecraft, Minecraft is geared and marketed towards young children. And it's marketed to them in a way that they pick up on it so young that a lot of these kids are going to continue to play Minecraft even as an adult. So, just to be aware that it's not just the name brand, gaming situations. It's the obscure ones too. You block your child. A lot of children, most children, they're not mature enough to handle the responsibility and the pressure that comes with being on these apps, right? So just like a child can lie and get a Facebook, also an adult can lie and get a child's app. So, TikTok is a big one. My stepdaughter had a TikTok, and there was just, when you look through who was there, the situationship isn't what you would have hoped to have seen. You're like, whoa. Like this right here is a lot. So let's see here. Absolutely, White Rabbit. Would love to speak with Ernie. Tomorrow I might be speaking with the top UK predator hunter. Maybe you should watch over there and get you some general awareness. Back to what we got going on here. Again, remember, folks, that if you're grandparents and you're watching this, it does not hurt to ask your children, hey, how my grandkids doing on the social media, right? Like, I see what happens on the YouTube that we're exposed to, right? There's nothing like a lot of these phones that we're handing off to these kids. They come with the YouTube app right on them. And you see how easy it is to venture into this community and be exposed to all sorts of different things. So when you block your children from the mainstay apps, just know that if you have one of the children that isn't responsible enough or isn't exhibiting the sort of responsibility that it takes to have social media, when you allow them to have these other obscure apps, it happens there too. So don't be fooled at all.
On Friday, Sarasota County deputies arrested 25 people from ages 19 to 65 in a sting targeting men who thought they were meeting kids for sex. Two of the suspects came from our backyard, Constantin Foda of Lehigh Acres and Joshua Rector of Punta Gorda. Deputies accused the suspects of using a messaging app designed to look like a calculator. Through that, they'd lure young children. Can you tell me which one of those apps you think is real versus fake? I met with some parents who realized how easily they could overlook the app.
I'm a helicopter mom, and they tell me that I worry too much. So I always want to have them show me what they're doing, but I don't know a lot of the apps that they're on.
Keeping track can be a challenge,
especially when I have 15-year-old twins.
but their kids are the ones who can tell the difference.
It looks like what Apple provides on the phone.
There you go. Right there. In their very design, in a very simple thumbnail, these children can see it. We cannot see this. We cannot see these things. Us as adults, see, we are what's called digital immigrants. Let me show you what digital immigrant means. Ernie, you could never give this sort of awareness. Ever, ever, ever. Definition of digital awareness. No, that didn't work. A digital immigrant. I'm sorry. Digital awareness. We got that awareness. Digital immigrant versus digital native. This isn't going to make a lot of sense to you, Ern, but this is what you study when you actually go to college nowadays. Digital natives are the new generation of young people born into the digital age, while digital immigrants, which is most of us, are those who learned to use computers at some stage during their adult life. Now, what's interesting about that is that us as adults, for the most part, I think, it's probably not fair to say we don't know what all these buttons do. But then again, there's a lot of us that don't know what all these buttons do. We haven't just clicked on them and hit them all and done all the crazy stuff. Like these kids, that's the first thing they do is they see it. So they actually absolutely see it differently than we see it. And things that may look very, very nonchalant and unobscure are very, very dangerous, right? So you have to bear that into mind. Like my grandmother, I have two grandmothers. One is in her mid to late 80s and one is in her early 90s. My grandmother in her mid to late 80s loves the iPad, keeps in touch with everybody with the iPad. My grandmother in her early 90s, you better not even try to show her a photo on an iPad. It's like this. It actually physically makes her angry and edgy, and she doesn't she likes to hold the picture. You know what I mean? So these young kids nowadays, what goes with being a digital native is that lack of, and I spoke because I've studied the digital native and digital immigrant in school. What's different about the digital native are the young kids that, parents pass the phone to in the back seat and they're on it for 6 hours and you never hear a peep out of them. I've seen studies where they will pass an iPad to a 2-year-old with the screen, way dark where you can't hardly see anything. And the child knows how to go in there, and it's a few steps. Go in there and turn the brightness up to his liking. So that being digital native, digital immigrants, we turn it on, and if the screen's dark, we think it's broken, right? The kid automatically goes to a different place in their mind to recall how to solve that solution. So kids are very, very, very native to what's going on with the apps, and they're always on the upward swing of things. And as parents, we're always on the end of the rope, right? We're finding out things in the end. And usually we're finding out when the child maybe posts something inappropriate, whether it be something they searched, something that they posted, something they said, so on and so forth. So with all of that in mind, please, another way to kind of streamline it all in is when you set up your child's phone, set it up in a way where you feel confident that the child doesn't have secret emails that they can go and, create you're going to see later on in some of these other things that, you can have an app that looks like a calculator and you can pull your app into it and it hides in there. So it is a war front, and it's a front that's fought in the phone, right? And us as parents, we willingly pass these devices off. Kids that are not even kids that are more affluent. A lot of kids have a phone and a tablet and a computer, and so what's key, parents, is when you're dealing with the tech, you've got to find a way. And there's many things, and we can talk about these at a later date. You've got to find a way to link all the devices together. You can't monitor one of their devices really good. So you've got to find that thing that consolidates all of their profiles and whatever. The same way you want to make sure your kid's doing in school. If you hand a phone to that child as parents, you now have the very real fucking responsibility that you're monitoring the phone first, probably, because if you're not monitoring the phone, the school stuff is inconsequential, right? Moving forward.
And this is a list of the 15 apps parents should know about, which was released by the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office. All of these apps have been labeled.
Take a screenshot, folks, if you want all of these apps. I'll tell you what, the only app I used to catch the predators that I caught was Scout. The only one. That's it. The only one. And I tell you what, you could make it is scary. I don't want to go all into it because it is very triggering, but it is so easy to create conversations with grown men when you are portraying a young girl. It is absolutely phenomenal how quickly you start getting responses. And then, it was like while I was doing it, I never had to go on and wait for a dude to, I hope a fish comes through and I can. No, you get on there and that fucking box is jam packed full of people and you just start responding and you can take your pick. It's sickening.
As ones children frequently download and could be used by predators to target children. Live in the studio, Alex Howard, ABC 7.
Now, bearing in mind that those are the mainstay apps that you should be fearful of, parents, I would ask you to do your due diligence and every so often pop in on your child's phone and check out their messaging or their direct messaging boxes. You have to at all times make them, they've got to be on their toes. They got to understand that you understand the pressures. A lot of these kids, I don't want to say a number of kids, I don't know the number, but a number of kids succumb to the pressures and will send media of themselves back to predators just because, for instance, they may give you a hat and make you feel like you're part of a bigger deal. And as soon as you make someone feel a part of a bigger deal, it's just like the gang thing. There's many women here, probably all of you women here, who never thought that you would find it fun and entertaining and exciting to be a part of something online, even though it's called a gang, right? Like gang has that super negative connotation. But let me tell you what, if I called it the unit, the predator unit, no one will want to be a part of it. But when it's exciting and it's loud and it's all of that stuff, people are attracted to things that are bigger than themselves. And as long as they're positive places for people to come in and get fed and get education, and then the key is, Ernie, is to create this softer, cultured environment for people to be educated on what you'd like to educate them on. And then when they walk away, they leave the fold that you've created for them to be educated. They leave that fold and they go out, and then they can express. They can actually express the tools you've given them, Ernie. But right now, what you do is you've created this cesspool with a string attached to it, and you're not giving any people any awareness, sir. Like you're putting all of this time, and it's damaging, sir. It's damaging because what happens is if somebody gets scammed by someone that they think is supposed to be giving them general awareness and situational awarenesses in the aspects of both, and they don't get it, but they feel burned, guess what, Ernie? Maybe some of these parents who are not as educated as some of the rest of us, they feel burned in a way where they're like, well, I'll just handle it on my own. They actually get turned away from looking into other organizations that can actually render aid to them with at-risk teenagers, with teenagers that recklessly internet post, all of those things, sir. This isn't an environment where people come to you to solve their life problems. This is so they can come to you and potentially receive the motivation to become more engaged in keeping up with their own child's social networking. This is not a situation for parents to start sending Ernie Shell your kids' social medias so the shell hunter can go in there and do the business that you should be doing yourself and teaching your kids. That's the real awareness, Ernie. You teach the kids to police themselves with ethics, morality, and decency. It starts right there. Because if you're only worried about the kids that can be preyed on organically, you're leaving out whole sections of young girls and boys who are absolutely preyed on and their voice is never heard, bro. Because you create a loophole for a whole demographic of kids to slip right through and be victimized forever. Now, moving on to the next piece. The next piece is hard. This is a trigger warning for anyone with children that have been assaulted, or parents that are watching this that have been made super ultra hyper vigilant by the bullshit Ernie Shell does. This is a real concern. Now, I hate that it is a real concern, but it actually is. Okay? When we allow our children to run rampant, and again, most of all of our children that we're talking about that fall under this umbrella of victimhood by Ernie Shell, what you have to realize is that it comes from every angle. Okay? Teachers charged with inappropriate behavior. It's nonstop. I mean, you cannot put a face to it. Let me tell you, as a man, I would say that this woman right here is highly attractive. She is highly attractive. I would date her in real life. Right? I would date the woman. But she's an offender. She's a woman offender. And what you're not ever going to get in terms of awareness from Ernie Shell or a lot of these organizations that are focused on making the predator the mainstay, right? The key here is to get in before it ever leads to you having to track down your child at a park with a sexual predator, okay? It's way before that. We also need to understand that sexual assault online is not a victimless crime. It actually creates real victims. A lot of times it creates victims that are unwitting, meaning that, for instance, this situation right here, unwittingly to this child, she's been exposed to the people that hate him. Now, at the very least, that hate could come with people calling services because of how strange this looked, right? But now, we know that a lot of sexual assaults in America, if they don't come by way of sexual predators online, 500,000 of them at any time, we know that the people that abuse children are the people who say they love these children, the parents, the uncles, the brothers, the cousins. Little girls in America and little boys in America are being preyed on. And let me tell you, they're being preyed on in a way that in America, if a little boy has sex with a grown woman, he's had every rated R movie scenario go on. But okay, so imagine your son having sex with a hot teacher. Men or women, if that doesn't bother you, you need to check yourself. Because then imagine that your daughter had sex with the gym teacher. In America, for whatever reason, it hits different, right? You're never going to see a movie where little young girls are fantasizing over their gym teacher with little coach shorts on and an oiled up chest. That's not what you see. But what you do see is little high school boys fantasizing, the clouds, fantasizing over his dream teacher or his dream swim coach, whatever. And in America, that culturing is acceptable. We raise men to be predators with a lot, or we suggest, let me say that. We make a cultured environment that's suggestive that it's okay for boys, young males, to not be ethical and moral with their genitalia, but we teach young girls to do that. But when young girls are assaulted, there's an issue with the reporting, the testing, and convictions. So it's way before you get to the point where you're in a courtroom and you're relying on science to put together your child's life because she's been assaulted or he's been assaulted. You take care of that when you take care of this automatically. And the main thing, or one of the main things, sit your child down. Sit your child down and get an idea of where they're at with their sexuality. Let's just keep it real. Now, for parents, we can say sexuality, where they're at with their feelings, their hormones. But to them, it's just like, you got any crushes? You got any boys? You think any boys are cute? Like, get a feeling for where they're at. Because as they progress, if you've got that close relationship with your child, you'll be able to gauge where they are with their feelings and hormones and the way they're thinking sexually, right? You got to keep them safe. And it's not safe from the world all the time. It's safe a lot of times from themselves, right? So these are just teachers. Look at that. It'll never stop. It will never, ever stop. It will keep going. New ones will pop up every day. Look at it. It will never, ever stop. These are teachers, people. These are the people that we send the children to every morning and never think twice about it. I would ask you to monitor your scenarios with teachers and staff at schools. It happens every single day. These are not lies. These are actually teachers that have assaulted children, usually inappropriately. Okay? Now, what's associated to each one of these videos? And it keeps going and going and going, but I'm not logged in, so it won't let me go anymore. What's associated to each one of these videos is a victim or victims. Teachers. Is it a teacher before even the phone? It is. Because if a teacher knows how do you think these things happen? And I actually have done this out of order. And I will refresh before I leave this next piece. These people are before the phones, Ernie. So teachers got to put them on the list of people to watch out for, because they are the person that makes the children feel a part of something bigger if they're good at their job on a positive note. But they also have been monitoring children for so long that if they have that inkling, they know exactly how to groom them immediately. And they do it so well, they can victim after victim after victim after victim. Next. You've actually got your law enforcement. This trooper here, 7 days ago, facing child porn charges. Look here, Humble. That's down there by Houston, H-Town, babe. Look here. Look at it. Cops. All different faces. All different colors. All different shapes, sizes, accents. Look at this one here. Production. SWAT officer. He's here to help you or tear your ass out. A SWAT officer, man, let me tell you what. A lot of these chiefs, they got to go through that SWAT. They got to go through that SWAT unit in order to be the best they can be all over. SWAT officer. Rockford Police. So on and so forth. Every fucking day. Every month. Every day. Every day. That one was 13 days ago. Where'd it go? Right here. Former foster father charged with porn and voyeurism. It's not a cop, but it's still someone doing a civic duty. A foster father. Hold on, look at that. Thousands. Where'd it say? Wherever it's at. Thousands of images. Fucking thousands of images. So you've got that deal, right? Like, look at this guy. Look at his face. That's a cop. But you see all them bruises and burns on his face? He was a cop until the cops came to get him, and then he turned into a fucking savage, and they had to whoop his ass. All upside his head right here, above his eye. This is all swole. This is swole. He's got a burn right here, bruise over here. Cops. Fucking cops. Then you have the teachers. All of this with the teachers is grooming. These teachers did not get caught by reaching out and grabbing a child inappropriately, and then that's it. Some of them could have been. This is systemic grooming that makes it okay. Now, let me tell you what. It doesn't just mean that the offender touches the child. A lot of times, the child is groomed into touching the offender. Let's not be confused about that. First and foremost, okay? Now, that's where this comes into play. This is the quintessential definition of grooming, okay? You have the need, you've already instilled in the child that she's part of something bigger. She's part of the predator hunter nation, right? Rescue our children. She's got the hat on. She feels, look at the little girl can't stop smiling. She feels she's in her element, but she's unsure, but she's comfortable because Uncle Unfamiliar is walking her through it. He's grooming her through it. Okay? Now, with what Uncle Unfamiliar is doing here is he's allowing her to test the waters. He's put himself in the middle of the screen and he's created a scenario where the girl has to touch him in order to be a part of what she wants to be a part of. He's offering it, and she's accepted. She's got the hat on. Okay? She's in. He already knows that. We know that children, most of the time, are offended against by people that say they love them. Family, friends, so on and so forth. So you're already seeing this child is prepubescent. This child already is aware of the fact that her chest was rubbing on her uncle. So you see this self-covering. That's a body protection. That's body protection right here. That's her with her hand in between her and her uncle's arm. Now, as we traverse through this, you will see Ernie put his hand under his arm right here, closer to her body. Now, I'm sorry for anyone that may take this in a different light. I'm giving you the rundown. Hate it, like it or love it, okay? Now, let's move forward. Watch the child's hands. Watch her body language. Watch his body language. He seems to be leaning out, which is allowing her to lean in when he could just move the chair. See, she immediately tucked her hand in there and then leaned on her hand. Did you see that? She's uncomfortable in this scenario, but she's in her mind, she's very engaged. She doesn't get to see this sort of thing. She's looking right into the eye of doom. Watch her hand. You see her hand? She's leaned right in on him. Now, she's going to become more and more comfortable with Uncle Ernie. Back with the hand. So, clearly there are no boundaries here. No boundaries whatsoever. Now, it would be nothing for him to just move, but this is not. Now the other thing you got to pay attention to is this isn't Ernie's typical behavior. Now, it wouldn't be a problem if Ernie hadn't stepped out of his character for this. If Ernie would have kept his same persona, we wouldn't be able to see these stark, glaring contrasts in his profile. I've built a profile for Ernie early on, and let me tell you what, in terms of the people involved in the Summer Wells case, his profile changes like nobody else's. Nobody else's. It's leaps and light years above and beyond Sherfy Jr., Frank Light, Fred Hill, Jody Sue, Andy Brown, Donald or Candace Wells. Like, this guy is way up the list. And I don't know what the fuck his actual involvement is. But when you look in terms of predators that like to return back to see what they've done, we can clearly see that Ernie suffers from, I would say in my best assumption, two different sort of complexes that I can identify. One is the persecution complex. Ernie always believes collectively that someone is out to get him. He's hyper vigilant, and he clearly has an irrational or obsessive feeling or fear. I won't say that he projects a lot of fear because he doesn't, unless he's on the drugs on the highway or in the car with the black man. Sometimes he projects massive amounts of fear. But he does believe he is the object of collective hostility or ill treatment on the part of the whole YouTube community. That would be on the second axis of the complexes. The first axis of complex that I would put on Ernie's shell is more of a syndrome. Called hero syndrome. Hero syndrome could look like many things. Definition of hero syndrome.
According to Wikipedia, the hero syndrome is a term used by media to describe the behavior of a person seeking heroism or recognition, usually by creating a harmful situation to objects or persons which they then can resolve.
Jimbo Kemper. This also could include unlawful acts such as arson, which we know Ernie Shell, his brother Shelby Shell, was involved in a murder, whereas they used fire to try to cover up any, I don't want to say they, because it wasn't a they so far, Shelby. But Ernie has tripped up in his vernacular as of late and put himself at the scene of the crime. Just by using the word back. He said, I didn't go back to the scene of the crime. Back would connotate or contend that you had been there before. You had to have been there before to go back. Back means subsequent as well in this sense. So we've got the hero syndrome and the persecution complex. You're going to find that a lot of professional full-time victims, they're going to have that persecution complex. They just believe the whole world is out to get them. That's the clinical term for paranoid, or the whole world's out to get me, is persecution complex. Hold on. I love that woman. Thank you, baby. Thank you, baby. Okay, let me slow this down real quick. Yes, this is what grooming can look like. If you've got someone that's been sort of excommunicated from the family, and then you kind of let them back in the fold. You don't know what they've been up to. You kind of know this one here has been wandering down the highway on meth. FYI, if you guys pay attention to the stand tonight, Jimbo and Kemper are doing their best to try to get the citation and the report from Ernie being locked up the other night on live. There is a report that states allegedly that he made a confession to the officer that he was high or coming down from meth, and that's part of the reason for his behavior. Families, ladies, you never let someone like this around your children. What's very important for you to get out of this is the general awareness. Get you some general awareness for free. You ain't got to send me shit. No medallions. I ain't got shit to send back to you. Take this for free. But the second most to everything else that we've looked at today is how to pick out a guy that's a groomer. You've got to listen for the vernacular. I'll do another one where we'll cover these subsets. I feel like it's very important. He keeps talking about awareness. I'm going to make sure you people have it. We'll talk about the vernacular. Actually, the beautiful Chasing Justice, she's done some talk about the vernacular, the sentence construct, and the analysis and interpretation of the output we can get. You're looking for someone that is unstable, has many poles of emotion, may or may not be depressed, and then experience manic. You can see all of these things. Number one, above all that in the profile, you just don't let unstable meth heads around your kids, people. Now, let me mention this. Ernie put this online. It screamed at many people, all of us. I had people texting me. Rap was the first one. He's like, bro, you got to see it. So I came over and I took a look at it. I believe that we did our due diligence and that Ernie has been removed from the situation with the child. Because what's important to understand is that this behavior, he had to groom his sister first. He had to groom his sister in order to let, or he groomed the daughter to groom the mother to say, yeah, you can leave me with Uncle Ernie alone. Even though 9 days ago, exactly to the hour almost, 9 days ago, he was coming out of jail for meth on the highway. So there's been a lot of grooming going on here. There's been a lot of trust placed in this situation that should never be here. What is she doing? Did you see that? He leaned way away and then leaned back into her. He's got his hand in there. You see it? His hand is now in there. What is she doing with her? I can't. Yeah, the hand thing. Covering her boob, or whatever you want to call it. What's up with that? All the time testing the boundaries. That's what groomers do. They're all the time testing the boundaries to go a little further, a little closer. There'll be that push and pull potentially. I'm not sure. But I see what Ernie does. He pushes the women away and then he reels them back. And when he reels them back, a lot of times the women, they have a figmented ideal that now the relationship is stronger, so they can place more emphasis or more trust on the relationship. What is it? You trying to get free like a hurdle? How do you hurdle? What you do? You punch him? What else? Blow an eyeball out? What else? I definitely had a problem with this because he's entered into this young girl's life and inserted himself as this sort of deity and this guy that she should look up to when she's probably looking eye to eye to him. But nonetheless, he's placed an importance on himself, and that's what groomers do, right? They place an importance on themselves. This guy is as important as anyone in his family, I'm thinking. Like, he thinks he's the guy. So she's automatically enamored by Uncle Ernie, and we know definitively he's had no contact with this child for an extended period of time. She's in there. She's buying in, right? More and more and more. Right? Let me tell you this. At any point I saw my daughter leaning over my brother, I'd be like, little girl, if you don't get your fast ass off that man, like, the hell are you doing? I understand giving Uncle Ernie a hug, but Uncle Ernie allowing you to just lounge on him while it's clearly uncomfortable, not to mention, I'm not going to talk about it. We're going to wrap this up here, but he allows the little girl to come on with her fly down. He allows the little girl to come on and give her whole Christian name and her her age, and did it in a way that was completely irresponsible. The very lack of awareness is what you saw. So this is a good example of what not to do, as well as how to pick out a groomer. I mean, hands down, bar none. This is the way. This is it.
Enough. Very disturbing. He's child of this age about information like this. I mean, this man is curating this child in front of a YouTube audience that really loathes him. There's a small bundle that agree with anything that he does, but you don't talk at night. Now,
Okay, I'm trying to find the portion where she talks about her mom not knowing. And
a lot of something going on.
That's something that a groomer will do, is they will do things to try to create distance between the parental unit and the child itself. It's all the time trying to test that boundary and pull them further and further away. And you can see it proof in concept. Like, this little girl's not supposed to be on the live. And then Ernie, he'll state prior to her that, your mom's going to spank me if she finds out. Like, it's one of those things where clearly now Ernie won't show his location. And it's, you don't hear anybody around him, none of that stuff. So it's a sad testament to what he's developing into. He's definitely, everyone else in the Summer Wells case, their profile is pretty much stagnant. Jody Sue's profile, it ramps, it peaks and valleys, and everyone's got a little activity on their life monitor in their profiles. But Ernest Shell is absolutely, he's flying high above everybody. Pun intended as well. So people, just be alert, be situationally aware when you see your child on the phone, right? Don't allow your child to become a victim in your house, right? What is the good of all the fancy security systems and the high-tech guns and all the crap we buy in order to protect our families when we lock our families in the house with the phone and the apps? Parents, be on the lookout. Or else you could be on the lookout, right? The 11-year-old girl, Heather Pierce from down here in Burnett, Texas, she was groomed. 11-year-old was groomed and then got into the car with an unknown man. She wasn't snatched. They don't have to be snatched in the car to be abused. They can get in the car willingly and be abused. Okay? So if you have teenagers on the fringe, or you see prepubescent children who are starting to exhibit behavioral issues, please know that probably a phone is going to be a wonderland to them of things that you ought to rebuke out of their lives. So I ask and I beg all of you, if you want to be generally aware, you can do it yourself. Or you can go somewhere and ask someone and they'll help you out. But don't wait around and pay for something that should be free. Let me tell you what, every single day Ernie Shell doesn't give out general awareness, another kid goes missing. So hopefully today I did my part. and I made someone generally aware, and hopefully the tentacles of this thing and the tributaries can reach out and it can have a parent do one thing to help their own child and save a child today. That's how easy it is. He used his niece as general awareness as what not to do. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's your general awareness for today. That's your general awareness. I beg of you, beg of you, whether it's a Google or whether it's an iPhone, put the screen monitors on the phone. It takes no time. Even if it took you an hour to set up all your children's networking accounts where you can look at it in one place, you're going to save a lifetime of pain in that child. And I assure you, if you do that, you save yourself a lifetime of pain. And I'm out of here. Remember, guys, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence. Don't lie to your kids. Tell them what's really real. If you are in a situation, you're getting divorced, maybe your husband's got a hot head, or guys, maybe your ex-wife, maybe she has a hot head. You've got to find that way to link with the child and make them aware. You don't want to say, hey, your dad's going to steal you. Or you don't want to say, hey, your mom's going to steal you. You just create environments where you go to your child and you say, listen, you can always talk to me about anything. Anything. There are no feelings that are too strange. You need to come to me for anything. In the same way you can trust me, I need to know that I can trust you too. Because when you can instill in your child that with trust comes privilege, that's the reward system. You have to set a reward system for these children, right? The phone is not a right, it's a privilege. It is a privilege. Don't be afraid to take this fucking thing away from your child. Don't be afraid to take this away from your child and reintroduce yourself to your child. I love all of you individually, and remember, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.